But just briefly, I think I actually just want to touch on the recent report, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know I read a little bit on it. New York Times report that Iran is willing to start negotiations about their nuclear policy after the election. I believe that you guys, I don't know if any of you saw that.
From what I understood, and I think the president articulated this last night in the debate, but I'm pretty sure that report is completely false. I think both the White House and the Iran government have declined.
They have declined it? Okay, yeah. Okay, I did not see that. So then, not discussing that, just in general, talk about what you guys think about our relationship with Iran, and especially in relation to Israel, and just kind of broad topic. We have about 8 minutes left, and then we have to wrap it up. But I don't know. Any of you can start. We can go ahead and start with Joe. Or how about we'll do Melanie? Do you have anything on it?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. Yeah, okay, so I think with Iran, I think it's, in terms of the campaign, I think both candidates are actually very much on the same page when it comes to Iran. They can claim that they're not, but they are. And the reason for that is really that there's really not another option. There's really not, another alternative that could provide, anywhere near close as good of an outcome. Not that really a good outcome is occurring from this, but I think both candidates would agree that we have to continue sanctions and really avoid any sort of military option for as long as we possibly can. As far as Israel comes, that's obviously an issue, as they clearly want some sort of military action, but we'll just have to try to restrain them, because really there's no good alternative. I mean, we've just been talking about, fighting ineffective wars and going into countries and mission creep and ending up in these situations where, there's no real ability for us right now to enter into Iran in any sort of military capacity, or even if we wanted to do, a surgical strike. There's several dangers with that, whether we would actually accomplish anything or be able to entirely wipe out all of their nuclear arms. I think just in general we'll have to keep focusing on sanctions, which are being effective to a certain degree, and see where that takes us.
I think that both candidates basically have, for all practical purposes, the same policy. And I would even question the fact that, Iran having a nuclear weapon is the greatest. I would disagree with Governor Romney that that's somehow the greatest national security threat that the U.S. faces. I mean,
geopolitical.
But at any rate, the North Koreans got nuclear weapons, and the North Koreans, in my view, are a more dangerous and more unpredictable state than what the Iranians are. And we have far more interest in Northeast Asia, and it's a far more volatile situation than what even Iran is. And so, I think the economic sanctions are the best way. If we attack, we can't eliminate it. We cannot eliminate their ability for good. We may knock it back 5-6 years, but then we're going to be in the same boat, and we're only going to reinforce the support of that the people give to the leaders in power right now.
I would agree. I don't think it's the Armageddon the way that it's been portrayed to be. Kenneth Waltz, of all realists himself, said, go ahead, you want a bomb? Give them a bomb.
Foreign Affairs magazine.
Yeah, they don't have that many issues, so they probably read the same exact thing, 6 a year. So what I think, though, is interesting is the U.S., I think, could give other regional power players a greater role in negotiating with Iran. I think it was a blunder on Obama's part with Turkey in 2009 when Turkey and Brazil attempted to negotiate an exchange of enriched uranium for nuclear fuel as a means of supposedly slowing down Iran's prospects for acquiring a bomb. I'm not an expert at all on nuclear energy or uranium enrichment, so the details of that and the order of the words that they go in is something I'm often confused, but I think just in the abstract, the notion that Turkey and Brazil, or Turkey more specifically, could and should play a greater role in negotiating with Iran and its other regional partners in their own security, I think is something that the United States should be more amenable to. And that was, I think, in a lot of ways a missed opportunity on the part of Obama, and something that's had some backlash for the U.S. in its relations with Turkey, and that we've seen sort of a resurgence of the Kemalist as a camp, as opposed to the Neo-Ottomans that I think in a lot of ways were more on our side on some things. So that's, and thinking about what to do if Iran gets the bomb, it's something that it would affect those in that region more so than us, in the immediate future. So allowing them to play a greater role at the negotiating table, I think, would be one of the first things.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think I'm going to speak more broadly on the issue as I've done all night. I apologize for that, but again, I'm not an expert. But clearly Iran is much closer to a nuclear weapons capability than it was 4 years ago. And our relationship with Israel has been downgraded. When you have President Netanyahu who comes to the U.S., to the UN, and requests to speak with President Obama, and he declines to go on The View or any other talk show, I think that sends a pretty clear message to one of our strongest allies in the region, and I think that's the wrong message that we should be sending, and Governor Romney is going to correct that. Wait,
can you clarify the message when Obama doesn't go on The View, when Bibi doesn't go on The View? Just the sentence before.
Is what I was saying was when President Netanyahu came to the UN to speak, he requested to meet and speak with President Obama, and the president declined to meet with him and instead went to go on talk shows such as The View and Letterman and such. And so my point in saying that was that we have the current president is sending the wrong message to one of our strongest allies in the region, that he's not willing to meet with him and instead would much rather go off and politicize things. As far as what Governor Romney would propose, I think he does agree on many, or him and the president do agree on many things as far as to what they would do. Governor Romney specifically would use a range of tools, including diplomatic, economic pressure, as well as threat of military action as a last resort. That would only be a last resort. And he would by no means rule out diplomatic means. I think that's a claim that the president's made, but I think that's false. But I think the important issue here is that, regarding the New York Times edit, or the article, I think it's interesting that Iran found out about this through the New York Times article, which I think clearly shows that the president doesn't have a very clear handling of the situation and is not in communication with the Iranian government. And I think that's certainly more representative of this administration. And the only way to fix that is to have a change. And lastly,
I'm gonna have to cut you off.
Right.
Is it a small point?
I was just going to quote a speech from Romney real quick, but sorry.
All right.
I'll be super fast. Just three quick things. The first thing is, like we all said, the president has continued the sanctions that are crippling. They have succeeded. He will continue to impose the sanctions. Second thing is he wants to make sure that our relationship with Israel continues to be strong. That same day, the president talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu for 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 57 seconds. They did have a meeting on the phone, talked about strategic issues, and like I said, he wants to make sure that our relationship with Israel is strong. 3 more seconds would have been 1 hour and 6 minutes. And also, the reason why Romney agrees is because the policy is the right thing to do. The president continues to lead, moving the country forward. And thank you for your time.
All right. So yeah, very quickly to wrap up my views on this type of thing. I think Iran is a great example of making mistakes when you're analyzing situations and analyzing them from a type of state view. I think it's really fun to think strategically about geopolitical things, and we've heard these three, you guys are all really smart, you know tons of facts, and you've all told us countless times how complicated it is from different ways that we have to look at things. And I think that really it's fun to do that, and it sounds really smart to do that, and it's kind of lame to take my perspective, but I think that we really need to keep in mind that every single person that is getting caught in the crossfire in the economic embargoes are individuals that have a right to live just as any other individuals do. And so it's kind of lame, it's less fun, it's not strategic, but I think really you gotta think of the individuals when you're making these prescriptions.
Do you think of yourself as a utilitarian, in the sense of Mill, the greatest good for all? How do you? We're all individuals, yes, but ultimately, decisions have to be made. So when thinking about what those decisions are, is it for you the calculus of how, the people that it affects, just the maximum good?
I'm a
for the
fan
maximum
of
people?
Pareto optimality. If you know what Pareto optimality is.
Yeah, but that doesn't really answer my question.
Okay, after you guys can have a discussion. Okay, all right.
Can I say one quick thing, really, really quickly, very quickly? I just want to say, Obama, I don't think didn't bring this up at the debate, but just for him. Yes, this is Netanyahu's illustration. Just for him, I want to bring up Stuxnet, and I know that that's kind of a Pandora's box to be opening up right before we finish, but I just want to say that that is another option that the administration employed, that of cybersecurity. It's potentially very dangerous, as our own cybersecurity is fairly weak at the moment, extremely weak. And we're dealing with that, obviously. But I just want to say that that is another, in addition to sanctions and negotiations, obviously, what is supposed to be covert cybersecurity operations is something that is also on the table.
All right, so that will have to conclude our discussion for tonight. I would like to thank all of you for coming. I enjoy this discussion a lot. I learn a lot from it. You guys are all very intelligent people, and you have really good ideas to talk about. So I really appreciate you coming. Just briefly, for anyone who's watching, we have our next seminar, and for you guys, if you want to come to it, we'll have spaces. It will be October 30th, and it will be on public perception of politics. And then also we have the website that we're using is www.whosconnecting.wordpress.com, and feel free to send questions to whosconnecting@virginia.edu. And thank you again for coming, you guys.